Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are going to be talking about the brand new Westman Atelier iPods in Toujours, which means every day. We're going to be testing these out today, okay? We're going to be doing swatches, comparison swatches. I also have the original iPods and I have the iPods from Holiday that were limited edition to compare to these, because the Holiday iPods were also powder. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna start off with the Westman Atelier foundation stick, and I am using the color Atelier 2. This is a very high coverage foundation in my opinion, and for those of you who have dry normal skin, you may not like this particular foundation. I've heard from many of you that this is a little bit drying on your skin. I find it to work well on my combination to oily skin, and I'm using my Westman Atelier foundation brush. I find it to work great on my skin. I do have to powder afterwards when it is, you know, especially during summer. Right now, as you can see, I am sitting on the floor because we are undergoing a tropical depression where we are here, and so it has been raining all day, very gloomy, very dark, heavy storms. So if you hear thundering or lightning in the background, that's what it is. But everybody's really excited about these iPods, and I really didn't want to put this off another day, because in reality this tropical depression will be lasting all weekend long, and I have a full-time job, so I go to work Monday through Friday, so I cannot film videos like these during the week for you guys. So we are gonna work with what we have. I am sitting in front of my front door on the floor because literally this is the only place in the house that will allow for this amount of natural light. And you guys know I love filming in natural light for you guys, because this is the closest I feel you're gonna get to seeing these products without being in the store in person. So I work with what I've got. Next, I'm gonna go in with the Westman Atelier contour stick in the color Biscuit. Just gonna prep my face. I will be doing a check-in throughout the day with these iPods as well, just to show you guys how they wear, using my Westman Atelier blender brush to blend that all out. Next, I'm going in with my Merit bronzer stick in the color Clay, and I'm just gonna use this to warm up my face ever so slightly. I know a lot of people ask about the Westman Atelier. I get a lot of questions about that, between the Westman Atelier foundation stick and the Merit foundation stick, and which one I prefer. For my type of skin, that combination oily situation, I prefer my Merit foundation, because this one after some time will start to break up around my nose regardless of powdering. I do find that with this one, the coverage is much higher than the Merit one, and when my oils start to come through and it starts to break up, it's very noticeable. So I usually wear this foundation like in the winter time when my skin's a little bit drier and it's not as hot and humid, but I still prefer my Merit one. It is what it is. Not that it's not a good foundation. It's a wonderful foundation. It's just combination oily skin girls, you know? Not everything works on us, you know? For blush, I'm gonna go in with Coquette. This is one of the brand new blush shades she launched this year. Very beautiful Barbie pink. This has these like a micro shimmer to it. I'm going in with my BK Beauty 109 brush to blend this out. It has like these micro shimmers in it. You can barely see it on the skin. It blends in super nicely. And you guys know that I do not like, for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know I don't like luminous blushes because I have combination to oily skin. So all that does is that when my oils start to protrude, it really accentuates my pores or any texture that I may have on the skin. And for that reason, I usually stay away from any kind of luminous blush, any kind of blush that may have a glitter or high shimmer, luminosity or whatnot. But this one, I find that the shimmer is so seamless and barely there that at least to my naked eye, I really can't see it unless I'm up close and personal with my skin, and then that's when you really see it. But then I had somebody comment that they went to swatch it in store and that it had big chunky glitters. I don't know, but mine does not have big chunky glitters. It's just it's very seamless. So we're gonna leave that. I think I've blended that out to Doomsday. I'm gonna go in with Nectar, and I'm gonna use this as my highlight for today. I think this color is gonna pair really nicely with this blush, and I'm just gonna tap it out with my finger. And let's go ahead and get started on eyes. Okay, so this is how the iPods come packaged. I'm already sorry if I butchered the name of these iPods. I don't know French, and so if you've been following me for some time, you know that I suck. You guys know I suck at pronunciation. So on the inside, you get this little sleeve, and then you have this thing that pops out, and on the inside you have a little case, little canvas case, which differs from the other ones because the Le Nuit set came with a black canvas because one of the pods is black. Like, I see what she did there, matchy matchy. Now, I don't own any of the other pods, so I'm not sure if they all come with a black bag, but this particular quad came with a pink one. And then you have the Westman Atelier in gold foil right there. And then on the inside, you have your pods. Now, all of these pods are magnetic. For those of you who don't know, colors is vanilla, beige, and cafe cream, or vanille. But just so you can see, the Le Nuit pods, you have two pods that are matte and one that's shiny gold. These are, oops, these are all shiny, which I found to be interesting because these are matte shades. So I have one iPod in Tabak that actually belongs to another set. How I got this single one was because I purchased a Bergdorf exclusive Westman Atelier makeup set that I believe is still available. I think it's called the Spring Edit, and this is the color it brings. I've used the heck out of this color. This is like one of my favorite colors to use in the fall season. So let's get started. The first color we have here is Vanille. And then typical iPod packaging, you have the heart on the cap and you have the heart in the pod. With these, you have to break the seal. I'm gonna do some finger swatches for you guys. My camera is having a hard time focusing because of the weather. So these definitely do not feel like the original pods. They definitely are that powdery consistency, like a typical matte shade. But I am gonna compare the consistency to the, here's that swatch, to the holiday limited edition, because those were a powder consistency as well. Next up we have Beige, and she describes this as like a tawny brown. We're about to see how light this is. The heart in here leaves as soon as you start swirling this product around. Here's that finger swatch. It is a beautiful middle of the road caramel brown. I don't have a brown in my collection like this. Usually the browns that I have are very cool toned. This is a very true caramel brown color, so I appreciate having something different to add into my collection. These are all magnetic, so if you hear the clicking and the clacking, it's because I'm trying to keep them from sticking to the other pods, the other pods I have here. Lastly, we have Cafe Creme, and this is a very cool toned brown, and I want to see how this compares to one of the colors I already have from the holiday collection. So here is that finger swatch. It is a very deep coffee brown is the vibe that this color is giving me. And it actually swatches a little bit. Let me do a better swatch. It actually swatches just a little bit lighter than what you see in the pod, which I can appreciate, because the one from the holiday collection, those pods were extremely pigmented, which was a huge surprise for me, because you know, these iPods are, you know, just like most of the stuff in her line, it's light but buildable, and it's more like a wash of color, you know, that clean girl look. All right, let's apply these to the eyes. So I'm gonna go in with my travel size baby blender brush from Westman Atelier, because I was not prepared enough to remember to wash all my Westman Atelier eye brushes before filming this video. Yeah, so thank God I bought a second set of these that were just clean and sitting there. The worst at washing my brushes. I'm actually going to, I forgot to powder, so let's powder really quick. I'm going to add a little bit of the Vital Pressed skincare powder. My compact has lost its color. Ooh, I'm not sure if the camera is picking that up, but do you see that? It's like losing its color. Not exactly sure why. I'm using my powder brush from Westman, and I'm going into this translucent shade. I love this powder, so finely milled. And I usually apply it to the T-zone. A little bit goes a long way. It does a great job at setting this foundation that's a little bit too emollient for my skin type, and I run it under my eyes and over my eyelids in order to help the eyeshadow glide on a little bit more smoothly, because I do have very combination oily skin. I need her to come out with the refills for this powder immediately. Like, I don't know why she continues to launch new products when what we need are refills. Okay, I digress. Let's go in with vanilla, and I am going to swirl my brush in here and put that all over my lid. You know what's crazy? This particular brush is actually a fan favorite for eyeshadow. She has two specific eyeshadow brushes in her collection, but people rave about this baby blender, which I believe she designed for blush, and people prefer it for her iPods and her eyeshadows instead of her original eyeshadow brushes that she designed for this. Now, for those of you who don't know, these iPods are very narrow, they're small, so if you have like long nails, you're gonna have a very hard time getting into these pods without scratching the actual formula. So here we have vanilla all over the lids. I'm gonna go in with beige, and I'm going to use her, see, this is her eyeshadow 2 brush, which is like this fluffy situation, and I'm going to apply this to the crease. So I'm doing outer corner and half of my crease. This is usually how I apply. My makeup. Okay, I'm loving this color already. I'm gonna tell you right now, this formula is different as I completely expect it to be, because these are matte formulas. Anytime you make something into matte, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I've noticed that when companies get eyeshadows and they try to make them matte, the formula is gonna change. I think that it's just the name of the game, you know? I will have to say that these eyeshadows apply very seamlessly. They're very easy to blend. You are going to get that wash of color, very consistent with the iPod formula. I'm going to apply cafe cream or creme to the lash line, and I'm gonna use a Sonia G flat definer to do so, because this is a very deep brown. What I love about her iPods is that you never get any fallout with it, and so it's never gonna ruin your makeup, and so the ease of applying them is unmatched. And that was the purpose of designing these pods. She wanted something that was gonna have absolutely zero fallout. This definitely is very different from her iPods, because her iPods actually have a Play-Doh kind of consistency. I know I've mentioned that in my channel before. It has this kind of Play-Doh effect where, you know, it's very unique. And her iPods, I think, are the most controversial product she has, because you either hate those iPods or you love those iPods. And I, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately is because they're so expensive. Everything in this line is so expensive. I really like the iPods. And there's one that I really want that has that green shadow in it that I don't own, and I've had a lot of self-control in picking it up because I really need to get through some of these products before continuing to buy more clean beauty. because you know, you're like, it doesn't last forever. I'm gonna tell you, the shelf life for these iPods are 6 months. I'm not gonna get through them in 6 months. With her original iPods, you get 12 months. So you get an even shorter shelf life with these matte ones, because the holiday ones also show 12 months. So usually I would just keep my eye look right here, but I actually wanna go in with a little bit of that brown, and I wanna deepen out my crease. I'm gonna use my Sonia G Classic Crease, and I'm gonna go into this Cafe Cream and deepen out that outer corner. Just give it the slightest depth, not too much. Just a little bit. And then I'm gonna go in with that same brush, the Baby Blender, and I'm just gonna go over my brow bone to soften up and blend out the edges. All right, let's apply some mascara. All right, so I applied some of the Westman Atelier brow pencil in Bark, and I went in with my Merit brow gel in Neutral. I applied some of the Westman Atelier mascara in Brown, which is her new one. And for lips, I have a couple of options for you guys, but right now I have the Squeaky Clean Lip Balm in Biscuit if you're not a lipstick kind of girly. But don't worry, I have a couple of different options for those of you who are lipstick girlies. And I have Piqué and Rue here, which I thought were perfect shades for this color story. I think that the colors she chose for this particular iPod and its purpose was perfect. It's an everyday iPod, and these colors are very user-friendly, and truly it's what most of us gravitate towards when we are creating a look. So first I want to go in with Piqué because I always like to start lightest to darkest. Rue is a very dark, deep brown, but this is my favorite lipstick shade in her line. Here we have Piqué. For those of you who want a lipstick version, by the way, they have little mirrors on the caps and it's refillable. Still waiting on those refills. Gucci, if you're watching this, we need refills for our stuff. We don't care if you don't come out with another new product for a year. Please give us a refill. I digress. Next, let me go in with Rue. I already know this is going to be my go-to fall shade this year. And here we have Rue. These lipsticks, everybody was very surprised by them because these are definitely not a wash of color. They are very, very pigmented. Let's go ahead and do some comparison swatches, shall we? I did make myself some more coffee because I can't ride that 1 cup a day thing that I used to do before I had a kid. No, I need to stay caffeinated just to keep this whole train going. Yeah, I need the caffeine, okay? and I don't need your judgment. All right, moving right along. I want to start off with the original set. So I'm gonna start off with like a shade that you can kind of see the consistency of. But okay, for example, this is Vin Rouge, right? It's like a beautiful burgundy blood kind of red. It's stunning. Okay, this is the whole reason I bought this pod, and of course this champagne color that is like a pinky champagne. This particular iPod you can buy by itself. It is sold separately because it is one of her best-selling shades. So I kind of want to do like a comparison between consistencies. Okay, so let's go into, I don't want to do vanilla because I find that the camera has a hard time focusing on that color because it's light. But like, for example, we have Cafe Creme, right? I'm gonna put these side by side. I find that my camera does better with darker colors. Do you see how to the naked eye, it looks the same, but it doesn't feel the same? The original one, these have a smell. The new ones have a smell. They have they have like a clay-like smell almost, versus the originals have no scent. All right. So I'm gonna do finger swatches here first, but this is a very putty-like consistency, and you do have to work it a little bit more on the finger than you would the new ones, because this is, to me, a powder consistency. That's just the way it feels on my finger, and I don't have to work it as much. But this is a difference between both colors. And then swatched, well, maybe let me look at the swatch so I can do it better. They both swatch nicely, but I find that the matte ones are a little bit more pigmented than the original. The originals are buildable, obviously. You can make it as dark as you want, but these are much more pigmented right off the bat. Now let's compare the consistency to the holiday ones, which were also powder. And I'm curious to see, there's a color in here called Smudge, and I want to know how close it is to Cafe Creme. So let me show you that. Here we have a Smudge, and it would be helpful if I showed you both of them side by side. So they are close, but I don't know if they're gonna be the same. Like, to the naked eye, they look exactly the same. The formula of her holiday pods, which are like also powder, are very different. This powder formula becomes crumbly to the touch. It is much more sensitive. You can see it on my finger, and you can see the pod in there, versus the new one has that very true iPod nature, but it's powder instead of feeling Play-Doh-y. So here are those finger swatches side by side. Here we have a Smudge and Cafe Creme on my pinky. Let's swatch these. You do get fallout with Smudge, and I am almost thinking that this holiday pod may have been a trial run when creating these new ones. That's all I'm gonna say. I think this was the trial run, and I think she didn't like how, you know, you would get fallout with those. She wanted something more true to the iPod consistency. So here we have Smudge, and here we have Cafe Creme. So they are not the same, but they are very close. So Smudge is more cool toned and deeper in nature versus Cafe Creme is a little bit warmer than Smudge. Now, both blend out easy. It's just you get fallout with one and not the other. The Smudge in the holiday collection, this particular iPod situation was super pigmented right off the bat. There was little wiggle room with it, and those of you who picked it up know exactly what I'm talking about. It was so unlike what we're used to with her products. So most of the people who demoed those iPods, when they went in, they were like, whoa, okay, we need a light hand. But I found it to be a very nice formula. Yes, you did get fallout, but nothing you can't tap away. You know, when you're using regular powder shadows, you know, you just tap your brush and you're good to go. Now let's compare it to the other two holiday colors in here. We had Mink, which was this beautiful shimmery color. It was a taupey shimmery shade. This is one of my favorite colors that she's created. And then we had Fete, which was this gold, orangey gold. This one, I use it mostly as a topper. It is, and I want to compare it to Tabak. I found these colors to be very similar in application, like how it translates to the skin, and I'll swatch them for you right now. They were a little too close for me to need to own both, you know. Obviously, I didn't know that when I bought it. And I'll show you right now. Fete is going to be really sparkly. But Tabak is, I find, to be the unsparkly version of Fete. Now, so here we have Fete and here we have Tabak. It has that color shifting effect, but still a very yellow, orangey kind of color. And if I had to choose between these two, Tabak would be the one that I would stick with. Now, to just swatch Mink for the purpose of this video, because everybody loves Mink. This is a color that you can really wear on your own. And quite frankly, I found that in this little trio, Mink and Fete were a little bit more true in consistency to the iPod, where you didn't get a lot of powdery fallout. Than Smudge. Smudge, you know, was very crumbly, and you had to be a little bit more careful with that color when applying it. So here we have Mink. Gorgeous color. All right, I hope these swatches helped. Let's go over it one more time, because I feel like this is a lot of information. So the new ones feel powdery to the touch, but their consistency is very true to the original iPod nature, in the sense that you're not going to get any kind of fallout. The original iPods have a Play-Doh kind of consistency, versus this, again, it's a powdery consistency. Compared to the holiday iPods, although this was both were powdery consistencies, this had fallout and this one didn't. Was this a holiday rendition, a trial run of what they wanted this to be? Maybe. We will never know. I don't regret owning the holiday pods, but if I had to compare them on this first demo kind of situation, I prefer this consistency better. I prefer eyeshadows that don't have any kind of fallout. It is easier to use, it is more user friendly. I am not a makeup artist and I am usually very pressed for time. So I usually reach for eyeshadows, and most of the eyeshadows that I own don't have a lot of fallout. So this is so I think they did a very good job with formulating this and sticking true to what the iPods are. Now I'm gonna do a 4-hour check-in with you guys to let you know how this wore. With the original iPods, I did not get more than a 4-hour wear out of them before they started to sink in and soak up into the lid and leave a beautiful stain. These do crease a little bit. I was perfectly fine with that. It didn't bother me, but I love the way that they wore. It almost felt like my skin would soak it up and it would just leave this beautiful done undone stain on the eyes. So let's see how these wear. See you soon. All right guys, we are about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes into this wear test, and we already have creasing. Again, this is not something that is very new to me, so I'm okay with it. If you can tap it and it should just kind of go away. You keep tapping it, but honestly, I don't tap it. I let it do its thing. So I will check back with you in a little bit. All right, we have officially reached the 4-hour mark. True to the nature of iPods, I've told you guys before, you really don't get more than a 4-hour wear, in the sense that at the 4-hour mark, your skin starts to absorb the product and it starts to leave more like a stain on the skin. And so I'm going to move a little bit closer so you guys can see what's left. So as you can see, there is some color, but most of it is gone. But yet I find it to still look nice, a very beautiful and soft done undone look overall. If that is what you're going for, then you're gonna like these iPods. If that's not your vibe and you need something that's gonna last longer, that's gonna stay put, that is gonna be an all-day wear thing, the iPods is not where it's at. I would recommend the Merit Solo Shadows for that, and I do have an affiliate link in the description box below if you guys want to shop any Merit products. But I personally really enjoy the Westman Atelier iPods. I just use my iPods on days that are shorter, that are more easy. I'm not gonna have 1,000 meetings at work. It's not something that I choose when I have a 16-hour workday. So they serve their purpose in my life. I truly enjoy them. There's a reason why I keep repurchasing them, and I personally like them. I just know that this is one of those products that's very controversial in the line. And so if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. I will try my best to answer them. I hope the lighting is good enough for you guys, because the weather just continues to get increasingly worse and worse as the day goes on. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.